got a call from a driver, and it was for an umbrella in a Coors Light display, and the umbrella was starting to fall down because they just put it in, just pushed a bunch of cases around it, and as it was being shopped, it fell apart. Driver called me up. He says, "Glenn, we're going to lose the umbrella." I pulled some 12 packs out, and they got the trays. I put the umbrella top on, and lo and behold, it held it. And that's how it started. I took this concept to my team. One day, my account manager came to me and says, "Hey, Glenn, I think you got something here."
My guest today is my LinkedIn friend, Glenn Niezgoda, and I'm super excited to get into his story going from field execution into actually designing some of the tools that we're using in the trade today and the mindset shift that it takes whenever you decide to build your own business. Glenn has created a company called Display Support Concepts, a POS company that came up with something so clever, innovative, and simple that it's one of those things that's going to make you say, why didn't I think of that? But I want to let him tell us all about that. So first, I want to say thanks for chatting with me today, Glenn, and tell me more about Display Support Concepts.
Morning, Wes. I appreciate you having me on, and I've enjoyed us connecting back and forth on LinkedIn, sharing ideas and thoughts and creativity that's got us where we're at today. This is something I've going into the business, but prior to that, I never really thought something like this would happen. I launched my company in April of 2024, but prior to this, about 5-6 years before that, I got a call from a driver, and it was for an umbrella in a Coors Light display, and the umbrella was starting to fall down because they just put it in, just pushed a bunch of cases around it, and as it was being shopped, it fell apart. Driver called me up. He says, "Glenn, we're going to lose the umbrella." And these Oscos, which are a part of the Albertson here in the Chicagoland market, our stores are lined up right along with the Osco corporate headquarters. So the VPs and the presidents are always in there constantly. I go over there and I'm looking at this and I'm just figuring out what I can do to get this done. So I look at this 12-pack display that was next to me, and I pulled some 12 packs out, and they got the trays. So I started to pull the display apart. I put the umbrella on, and I got my base to see where I wanted my height at. So then I took the umbrella apart, and I started to put the display concept piece on it. And then I started to put the cases on, and I put another piece on. I started to put the cases on, and I put the umbrella top on, and lo and behold, it held it. And that's how it started. I took this concept to my team. I have a team of 7. We called on all the big box stores, Walmart, Costco's, all the big chain stores out here, besides some liquor stores and independents. And we started to use that. One day, my account manager came to me and says, "Hey, Glenn, I think you got something here." He goes, "I got all these liquor reps going me, hey, how did you hold up that pole topper, or how did you hold up that umbrella?" And I would show them. So it was just like taking a beer tray, which is 16 by 11, take your knife and you cut it, and it worked. So then what happening was as I started to show this and it was working, and the guys like it was just training the merchandisers. And then it just started to come into play. So before I retired and all that, which was in March of 24, I was thinking about this. I did not want to wake up in the morning and go, woulda, coulda, shoulda. What would have happened? So I made a business plan, got myself a patent lawyer. We did the research. He did the research. And there was nothing out there like that. So then I went with the patent. So right now I have a patent pending, and I have a trademark on DSC, as you can see here on the shirt. So I have the trademark there, and I'm having fun. This is something that I've enjoyed with a passion of working the market and retail execution.
That's awesome. This is definitely building the displays and setting up stuff is definitely has a soft spot in my heart. I think it is the fun part of what we get to do as vendors. I'm very interested in where your journey begins. Now, you've obviously been in this industry for a long time. Tell me a little bit more about where it starts for you and kind of how you progressed throughout the industry. And then, like you said, you retired, but you just can't get enough of it. So then moving into building your own business and stuff like that. But at the very beginning, where do you start? Where is the embryo Glenn in the beverage industry?
I started in the beer business in 1980. I started off as on the trucks as a delivery driver for 7 years. That was a great learning experience, from working on a barrel truck then to working on case trucks, building the displays and making it happen. And when you're out there in the market and you're building the displays as a driver, you're putting your footprint into that store. And with that said, is the store managers, directors, people along that line see you doing your work and how you take care of the display as you come in, you do weekly. I learned a lot from there. But then after that, I got into the sales end. And from the sales end, I was an account manager. Then I was a delivery manager. Then I was an area sales manager. Then I turned into a sales manager for my team. So with that all said, is having your team and them knowing that you have their back. Because I would go out and I would work on my own just to see what they're doing. And it's just me learning too, because you learn a lot when you're working with someone. I would always try to make sure I try to learn something from someone, whether I'm training them or not. So then what I did is I just progressed. And then as you're doing a good job, you start to make a name for yourself. So when you walk into that store and there's a district manager in there, the store director, whoever it is, and they see you walking in, it was so much easier for my team to get displays up because they know they're going to get maintained by the delivery team and that they're going to get maintained by them. And that's what really kind of got me going into the market like that. And, it's just something hard for me to let go.
Yeah, it does get a hold of you. That's something that I mentioned in some of my other videos before, is these brands have a way of capturing you and making you feel like you're part of this movement. You have a lot of brand loyalty, regardless of where it is that you started. These brands have a really good way of doing that. And I saw something that I always preach to other people is like, you have to start creating your brand like that. Think of yourself as one of these brands that you love and you care for, and they show their value immediately. You have to be able to do that as well. I like the way that you said you started off as a driver, and then you have to learn from the bottom up all of these skills and techniques, and it's a gradual thing, especially in this business. Now, you can get better at it faster if you listen to those ahead of you that will try to teach and coach you. It's very rare that you find somebody that's willing to do that for a long period of time. But you got to be a quick learner. You have to be willing to be coachable. You have to accept the
Yes.
fact that you don't know everything out there, and listen to the people that you look up to, right? That if they're in a spot that you want to be and they're willing to coach you up, you got to listen to it. I started off in warehouse, so I was actually order selecting. I started
Okay.
even lower than being a driver. I was like just putting stuff on a pallet, but I got really good at building a pallet. And then smash cut to me, 18 years later, I'm a beer rep working, ordering pallets and ordering orders for stores. And I'm thinking about all the way back in the day whenever I used to build pallets, and is the product that I'm ordering going to sit on the pallet the right way? Is it going to be easy to build? How is it going to look when it comes in? I'm sure you thought about that too. You're thinking about everybody's perspective on the way from the start to finish.
And I agree with that, because one of the things with that I've really learned, and that's through experiences, never forget where you came from. Never forget how you got there. And then you look at your team and your people, and you want to be approachable. You don't want to be coming down on people, because it's all a learning experience. And that's what creates a great team, and that's what makes them, when they're out there and execute. One of the biggest things I've learned too is it's quality, not quantity. If a guy's got a heavy workload, merchandiser, so to say, I want great work. I mean, if he's got X amount of work orders and all of a sudden, because he's doing a great job, continue to do a great job. Don't think you got to get all those work orders done. We'll get to them. But then again, hey, let's talk at the end of the day, what was good, what was not, and what were the issues that you ran into. So then this way you're working with them, and then we get the other work orders done. They're going to get done. but my
Right.
opinion, it's quality versus quantity.
Yeah, and as the quality increases, the speed is the quantity is going to go down, I think naturally. I mean, you get to a point where it's almost a balance of quality of work versus quantity of work, but there is a nice balance. You hit a sweet spot in there somewhere, and you don't want to burn out that person either and make them start kind of chasing their own tail.
Right. I agree.
Something that's really good in this business is to try to create catchphrases that simplify the job. And something that you and I have talked about online is you came up with a phrase called detail at retail, which number one, I like it because if it rhymes, you can't argue with it. And it simplifies an overall concept. I want you to expand on that concept a little bit more though.
So detail retail, actually, Wes, this goes way back to about 1989 to 1991 in that time frame. Back then, um, it came from a man who was the vice president of sales for Miller back then, not Miller Coors, but for Miller. Tom Kaler is his name. And I wish I would have kept this book. So they had a book, it was about A big, spiral, and it just went through their definition. And, you can always expand on that, but that's what played into my mind. And there was a contest amongst the salesmen. You pick so many accounts and you have people go out and score them. And you weren't winning by a point, because you were winning by a fraction of a point because of all the different categories. And that's what really sharpened my mind up. You walk into a store and you see back then, and some of the days you had the warm shelf place, there was a lot of warm shelf place. Now we call it a cemetery sometimes because the cold boxes got so big. Well, when you're looking at that shelf, what looks better? Just all the cans up there and the bottles, or are you taking them and you're turning them? You're giving that brand look. You're taking care of your brands, and the stores do recognize that. So detail at retail goes a long way. Also, if you don't have the right tools when you're going into the market, it makes the job more difficult for the merchandiser or sales rep to do their job. And that's where the shortcuts come in, or they have to waste time and go back. So, I mean, I have my own kit, and if you go on my website, there's my story, then there's how it came into about, and then there's the gallery. If you go onto the gallery, there's pictures and videos of me showing everything that you can do to help you get that detail at retail. I've been able to get pull toppers up on a single 12-pack hand display. I've been able to get it on a single facing of 12 packs up against another display, making sure that that pull topper is there. So there's part of the detail at retail. Like I says, I wish I would have kept that book. It was really good and interesting, but when you have that mindset, it makes you think a little bit different when you're in that store.
I'm hearing an idea for Glenn to write his own book, and it's going to be a digital download on the website here pretty soon. That's what just popped into my mind. I know you're an entrepreneur type, so I'll give you that one for free. But I would love to see that as a download that new guys can download, your perspective on detail at retail, how all of these different things matter. And I like how you mentioned an element of creativity as well. So you're not just talking about the displays, you're talking about the main placement, you're talking about other points of disruption. All of that stuff matters, and you're presenting it like a brand. So make sure that every can spun, every box set the right way. All of your displays looking good, but don't just focus on that. Focus on upfront cold too as well. I work in a little bit of a different space where I have a lot of different facings upfront cold, but I love to make sure that all of those match the brand flow that the customer expects. Everything is spun, at least whenever I
Right.
leave. I want to have a nice looking placement that the consumer can't wait to mess up whenever they walk into the store. That's the point.
Watching your videos, I've learned a lot too. I mean, you never stop learning, Wes. And watching yours, turning the cans, I love those. When yours is going really fast, which I picked up a little bit. I kind of borrowed some of that thought from you. I do have a young lady, Megan, who does my website and handles my social platform. We just did something this week on LinkedIn, which I believe you saw. It was a Twisted Tea display, how we put together with milk crates and umbrella, and this way they can do some cross merchandising, which is very important to help do that, because the stores like that, because they also can sell more product. It's all about getting as much product as you can in the shopping cart. So when we're looking at that, we're doing the cross merchandising, but she did a voiceover this time instead of people hearing my voice because only God knows what's going to come out. And I don't know how many times she's had to edit it. It's fun, though. I don't get embarrassed. I do speak a different language. It's called Niezgoda, per my last name, because I never knew what was going to come out. And we've had a lot of fun with that. And this is the one thing about the business. You have fun. You have the right tools, you have the right personality, you have the right people. It's work, but when you have all the tools that you need in your merchandising bag, it makes retail a lot easier. And in my business, it's very simple. It's pull toppers and umbrellas. And to get those executed where it makes the execution a lot easier. Mm-hmm. And not only that, it makes it safe, secure, and those aren't going to fall down. In my gallery, you will see so many different brands. They're all in alpha. And then there's also what I'm trying to do is trying to get my pad in with a pull topper kit. And in that pull topper kit, you know what the pull toppers are, but then there's also the wire tree stand. I'm not knocking my competition.
They suck, dude. I'll say it. I can't stand them. And whenever I saw your idea, I was like, this is what we've been needing for a while. I don't know how nobody thought of it. It's genius and so simple. And it came from what, like you said, what you had in the trade. You just saw this, and we get creative in the trade, and you're like, oh, I have this. I'm just going to see if this will work. And in a pinch, it did. And so what you've done is you've started to improve on the concept itself, and now it's actually designed to do exactly what you wanted to do. Yeah, I've done it too, where I just grab something in a pinch and I'm starting to use my box blade and I'm cutting things up to where they fit. And yeah, I asked one time, I was in a meeting and I was talking to a whole bunch of young kids. I said, have you ever done any type of work on your house or put together a piece of furniture, anything like that? Or have you ever played with Legos? And some of them had, done a little bit of work with dad, maybe worked on a construction site. I said, this is a lot like that. It's problem solving. Everything was modular. So it was like working with Legos. I was like, if you like Legos, you're going to love building shelves for cold vaults because all of this stuff snaps into place. It's all modular. You can move it around and create it and be creative. And it works for every store has a specific need. You have to identify that need, and then you have to get creative with how you're going to solve that problem. What you've created is something, like I said, it's so simple, but yet innovative that you're just like, how did we not think of this sooner? And I'm so glad that you have it. I'm glad that you created the business. I'm glad that you have the patent and that it's uniquely your thing. And I wanted to expand to everything.
I'd like to add two things in quickly, Wes. One is I've taught the word MacGyver. Anybody who's watched the MacGyver show way back in the day and the current one, the way he looks at things, there's always a solution. You got to MacGyver it. That's what I did. I MacGyvered this 16 by 11 beat flute piece of cardboard into something, and then there was a solution to fix the umbrella from falling. And I think if merchandisers and reps go with that mindset, hey, there is a solution. You got to step back, look at it, analyze the display or the situation that you're in, and make it work.
That's true. I have a couple of questions here that I have written down, and I wanted your take on them as well before we get into actually the building of your business. And that is, in your mind, what separates just product on the floor versus a very impactful display that's actually going to move product? We've all said yes to the bathroom display to get more volume and just to set something on the floor. But this kind of dovetails into detail at retail. What are your kind of go-to techniques or tools that it's a must-have to make a really good-looking display that's actually going to impact the shopper and make them want to grab your product?
Creating possibly a thematic display. And some of the things we do with a thematic display is like around a holiday, let's say. And you're in a store and you want to enhance it a little bit, do some cross merchandising. And then what I would do is I would walk around the store with a shopping cart and I would grab their items with the price tag on it and where possible, put it on the display. If it was up against a big wall, a little easier to execute, or on an end cap. And if possible, we would hang it from the ceiling to show it. But each store is different. Some allow more point of sale than others. But the thing is taking the cases, if you have a 24-pack can display, so to say, and you waterfall it down. Well, you wouldn't want to leave the top flat like that. You would want to stand the cases up, give it that billboard effect. Then it gives you more opportunities to put programming on it, whether it's a case card or an easel card, and especially if it's on sale with a store, and then they could put their point of sale on it. So this way it's a lot easier for them to execute too. What I would do is I would know everything that I've done in the past and try to execute on that.
If you're trying to grow in your career, build a personal brand, or become an elite vendor in the CPG space, I have everything that you need at bevedu.co. I've built onboarding, sales training, and career development programs designed to help you get to that next level professionally, all for the cost of an ebook. If you're looking to get to the next level in this industry, but you're not getting the coaching and development that you feel like you deserve, you gotta check out bevedu.co. I'm breaking down 20 years of industry knowledge and trial and error, all in one spot. Let's get back into it. I like how you mentioned the cross merchandising, and that's something that I wanted to get into, but then I lost track of it, was whenever you were building that Twisted Tea display, how you built it up and you had the crates where you could then merchandise a snack food or something that goes well with it. I would say, just to add to that, is whenever you are cross merchandising as you're building or before you get going, look at it from the perspective of the consumer and what do you want them to get in addition to. We're trying to increase the basket ring, so a display is not just a display to sell your product. It's actually there to support the retailer and help them sell more items as well. Not just yours, but whenever you can grab other things and add that to the display, that's super, super smart. I think a lot of companies, at least down south, they're doing combo deals already. So whenever you buy something, you're already getting something for free. If you can recreate that in other retailers that aren't already doing that and get them thinking about that, the retailer definitely loves that. I've even gone as far as, whenever I'm building stuff in electronics, I mean, what can't you cross merchandise? So if you're building up this big thematic display for, say, like some type of video game that's coming out, in energy we do that a lot, then can you bring in that futon? Can you bring in the TV that has the trailer for the video game playing on it? Can you bring in that PlayStation as well, or that Xbox, and have it all there? So not only do you have this really kick-ass looking display, but everything on that display is for sale, which is insane. If your retailer will let you get that creative with
Yeah,
it,
good
everything that
point.
you see here is for sale. You're not just bringing in, I know a lot of people will bring in like a barbecue pit or something and they'll set it on there, but it's not something that's for sale in the store, and they'll raffle it off and give it away. And that's great, but we're in retail. We're trying to sell something to people. So on everything on there, I mean, obviously the giveaways are cool and it's exciting, but if you can make everything on that display for sale, that's next level thinking that we've kind of gotten away from it, trying to get creative and really support that retailer and help them grow their business and sell other things other than just us.
I'd like to add to that one key thing there, or one key piece, is if you're adding things onto it, is it shoppable, and how far is it shoppable? Again, this is where my piece comes in with a pull topper. An umbrella, of course, you just can't lay it across, but I've seen pull toppers, the component, the program, just being laid out on a display. And the display might be 3 rows deep, and then it's on the third row on the back. It's just laying across the top. And you'll see that in my gallery. What I have done with my pieces, it shows how you can weave it into another display. And now you have your pull topper elevated. Now, from going across on the top one takes that row out. So now, instead of having just 2 shoppable rows, you have 3. If it's a hot price, hot moving item, you don't want to stop that customer from shopping that. Not only that, if a store director or store manager sees that you've got a piece up and the product can't be shopped, and some people won't move it, they'll just shop around it, or they'll go pick something else up. Those are some of the key pieces that my concept brings to putting up those pull toppers. It makes everything shoppable on that display.
Yeah, if you're getting in the way of selling the product because you want to put a really nifty looking piece of cardboard on your display, you're defeating the whole purpose, you know? I want that customer to see my display and they can't help but grab something off of it because it looks so it's inviting them. to mess up my display is what I want them to do.
Right.
I want my merchandiser to have to then come back and be touching that up on a regular basis because it's doing its job. So you kind of teased it a little bit. You said that you were retired, but you couldn't get out of the business. What made you leap from building displays to actually creating this product? What was the mindset? What was the shift? Were you already thinking about it as you were moving into getting out of working with a company? Because you're definitely in a way niche, unique part of the business now, but it's something that you've created for yourself. And I want other people to be inspired to do the same thing.
It was all by accident. I wanted to work until they had to carry me out of the place on a stretcher. But this all, it just came into play. It fell into place. This was developed by accident I saw a need. And then I just saw how it started evolving with my team. I developed a plan, and then I developed a strategy. And then with that said, I contacted a patent lawyer, but then again, okay, how much is this going to cost? How much is that going to cost? And this it costs. And that's why I'm like, you know what? I'm going for it. Was it a dream? No. It became a dream just through working and open up your mind. And again, we're going to go with detail retail. What you have to do. How do you got to MacGyver it? How do you got to, what solution is to get there? And you could accidentally stumble against it. Or if you see an opportunity, how to fix something, keep that in mind. Get a plan, develop a strategy, and just make it happen as best as you can.
Have you always considered yourself kind of an innovator or some type of inventor? Because this is very inventive, but have you always had that mindset whenever you're out building displays, or this was just that one lightning in a bottle?
Well, yeah, it was kind of one lightning in the bottle. The thing is every display is different, where it's at, what store it is, and what opportunities you have to make it impactful. And then also being able to make sure that with your delivery team and the salesman and the merchandiser that you're able to keep those displays up and running and looking good. To me, I guess, Wes, it's just teamwork. And it's just something, I don't know, I get out there and do. These wheels are always going. I always want to help my team because the more you work together and doing things and MacGyvering it and having the solution, they're having fun too. And there's also these nice sales incentives that they can win, like surprises and things along that line. And I know I'm probably really not answering your question, but it's just something that when you go into a store, know your store, know what you can do. And more importantly, is always walk the store. Because when you walk the store, then you're looking for opportunities. Know what's up, what competition has up, or even what is not even a beverage shop. You're looking for how they did a display, how creative they were. So I don't know if I really answered your question because I really didn't. There's not really a sound platform of what I do. I just walk in, know what point of sale I have to work with, whether it's pull top or an umbrella or all the other pieces that a supplier will furnish for that program or that type of the season.
I think the longer that you're in this business and you're going through and you see different challenges, like I said, it comes with over time. You can talk to people that have been in the business for a long time, and if they're good, they can kind of coach you up on, hey, this is what we do in this kind of scenario. So it's important to listen to those people that want to be a mentor and a leader. And there's also a lot of people not to listen to in this business. But if you find that good person that can coach you up, you can learn these tips and tricks faster, which is kind of what I'm trying to do. Just kind of be an online guide to help people realize how much fun this business is and how creative we get to be. It's a little artistic in a way. Yeah, I think you did answer the question. Your mind's always going. My mind is always going too. It seems like you have a very entrepreneurial mindset, whether you realize it or not. And now it just turned into this thing that I think is going to snowball. And as we know, this business never really slows down. Do you have anything in the future that you're working on right now that's going to up level something beyond the platform that you're doing? Are you doing other cardboard POS? Have you considered that yet?
Yes, and I've come across something that would help, but I really don't want to let that out of the bag yet because it's still being created, and I don't want anybody to steal the idea.
I don't want anybody to steal it either, but I'm excited to see what happens because what you've done right now is so good. And like you said, you're always thinking, right? And you're walking in, you're finding different challenges, you're coming up with new solutions. So I know Um, just that's the nature of the beast, is it is always evolving. So I know that there's no way that you've come up with this, gone out into the trade, actually executed it, you're having a lot of fun with it. There's no way it's like, oh, okay, now I came up with this idea. And now you've already proven to yourself that it's possible, right? You've created the website. You have a team now. You've gone out there and you've shown proof of concept. So now you're in it, like it or not. I think you're a POS designer now.
Yeah. Thank you.
So I'm excited to see what happens. And whenever that does happen, we have to have another conversation about that specifically. I want to talk about any challenges that came along the way that you're like, man, this has been a tough one to overcome. I mean, I've come into a lot of challenges on my own, and it's something that I speak to in creating this kind of media company based around vendors. But I want to know what your unique challenges were and let other people know that may have a concept similar to this, that, yeah, you're going to run into challenges, but this is how you overcame your unique challenges.
That's a great question. And this answer, Wes, can go on forever. And I know we only have so much time. So with that said, is some of the challenge I faced as I developed my strategy. My strategy was to keep connecting with people, looking at their background. Who are they? How high are they on a totem pole? And are they the street rep and giving these thoughts and ideas? I've had some great compliments like, this is freaking genius and this, and which is a feel good, because it's, I had this one guy who mentioned, God, I wish when I was at a beer distributor that we would have had this then. It would have made life a little simpler. But the thing about that is I'm 3 years in. It's new. People are still looking at it. They're still like trying to figure it out. The challenges is getting the word out there, is getting the videos. My marketing director, she does a great job, and she keeps trying to change things up with different thoughts and ideas. So that's my biggest obstacle right now. I feel I've made some good connections out there. Now it's the point where the sales pitch is like anybody. What's in it for me, or how does this benefit me? Let's talk about dollars. Dollars, everybody's starting to pay attention. How much does it cost to make a pull topper program, the kit? How many are there ordered? What program is it for? The thing is how many are still in the warehouse after the program that they're throwing out?
Right.
That's a lot of money being wasted. And the thing with the pull toppers, which I can speak for, and everything else, which I've seen from under the sun in a distributor's warehouse, how much gets thrown out? How hard is it for them to put that together, that piece? And so the thing is I made this pitch to one company, and I asked her this question. I go, how much POP do you make? How much is on the getting up, put up? Then how much is being wasted? Because every company has a different percentage of who pays for what and how much each one is. That stuff's not cheap.
Right.
So with me saying that, what am I getting into is how much is getting up? If it's easier to execute and those programs are going up, and then you go down to there's hardly any waste, it's going to happen. If it's ease of execution, more of it's going to get ordered to get put up into the market. So this is where the money starts to come in, for waste versus increased spend, because then you're getting your programs or your brand out there recognized to help promote the programs or whatever the case may be.
You brought up an interesting point. There is a lot of POS that is left back in the warehouse, because if it's a bigger piece of like sustainable POS that somebody might want to take home with them, you're not just going to give that piece to anybody. You have to get ROI on that display. I like pull toppers and I love cardboard because it is throwaway, but it isn't throwaway to everybody. We've been in this business so long, it's like I'm trying to get cardboard out of my garage. But people see the standees of these sports icons, or they see these cool like little fold up things with the logo on it of a brand that they love, and they're like, yeah, I'll take that for my house after the display goes down. We got people fighting over standees, which is hilarious to me, because I'm like, I don't,
Right.
you know what I mean? Like, the last thing I want is more cardboard. My wife hates my garage because it's just a freaking warehouse for POS.
Yeah.
But you brought up something interesting. Now you got me thinking, like, how much of it is the sales rep just doesn't want to put the thing together because it's like a Pandora's box of trying to build this race car or a ice cream cart or whatever that, I mean, you name it. But if you can make it easier to build, easier to set out, and now you got me thinking, because I have this huge like cardboard race car that I'm about to put up because Formula One's coming up. It's like, man, if we had this, could we turn that into a pull topper? I mean, it's huge. It goes like 8 cases wide. It's a huge piece. And I was like,
Right.
could we put it on a pole topper and then have it up so it's still shoppable and I'm not like hanging it from the ceiling with a fishing line or something like that? And you're shaking your
Yes.
head. Yeah, of course we can. Yeah. Get me in touch with the people. I'll show them how to do it. Right.
Go to my go to the gallery and go to Heineken Silver Formula One car I built with the Heineken reps.
I actually I worked for a Molson Coors house and a Heineken house as well. And I did build that car, actually, the Heineken silver car back in the day. I think if I don't
Uh-huh.
know if I posted it on LinkedIn, but there was a time when I was a beer guy for about a year and I did build that Heineken silver car.
Uh-huh.
I'm a huge Formula One guy, so I was like, I have to get that up in my market. And there was a store that actually sold Heineken very well. Man, beer is something that we could talk about as well, about how much different that industry is than other than caffeinated soft drinks, than energy, than isotonics, all these other things. Beer is a way, way different industry.
Yes.
And you have to be very strategic in how you plan. You have to plan very carefully. Your forecast better be accurate, at least in Texas, because you can't send it back. But that's a whole conversation
Right.
for another day. But how much is it? Like the POS just sitting in the warehouse because the actual thing that has been created is too hard to execute, or it takes too much time and the sales rep doesn't want to do it. It doesn't mean anything if we're not going to put it out in the market. I think this is a good place to kind of wrap it up. Is there any words of wisdom or a final takeaway that you'd like to impart on everybody before we wrap it up?
Yeah, when you're out in the market and you're at those stores, that's your signature. Your signature has to mean a lot. Your handshake means a lot. Your follow through has to mean a lot. So when you're in that store, you're taking ownership, and that's how you're going to get more displays than the competition. You're signing that your name, and then when you're working with the store liquor manager or the store director or whatever, and getting to know the district managers, your work is your trademark. And if you're doing good work, good things are going to come to you. You're going to succeed out in the market because you know what I've learned, what my dad taught me. Your name is the only thing you got, and you don't want to screw that up.
You can spend a lot of time building up a reputation to have a good reputation, and it just takes one snaky thing or one kind of backhanded. Um, it, I'm not talking about the accidents. Accidents are going to happen. We're going to make mistakes. But if you do something that you know is not right
Right,
for the customer,
right, right.
it's that one thing that's going to ruin that reputation that you've worked so hard to build. So I 100% agree. It is your name. It is your signature. Work hard on building that up and creating a brand that people resonate with and that adds value. And know that as soon as you turn your back on on your values, that could create something bad for you later on down the road. So that's a very good point.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
Before we wrap up, I want to say displaysupportconcepts.com is the main place that they can find what you're doing. Is there any other website that you want to promote before we hang up?
No, that's it. If you go on my website, it has the thing is how I started. It's got the home where there's a lot of action. Megan did a great job, so it's just not stagnant. It's just showing a lot of displays. It's a reel. And then you're going to who I am. It tells the story how I got where I'm at. Then you go into the gallery. Again, it goes A to Z. Take a little time, go through it. It also not only is it the showpiece of the website, but it's also use it as a training tool. And I tell you what, I've had some people reach out to me, I will get back to them. I will help them. And I've been on meeting calls on Zoom where they would have questions and I would work them through it because there's always that solution. And also on there to shop it, my bundles are 50 pads in a bundle, and then it lays out the prices. All you do is click on the bundle, then all the pricing and everything else comes up.
And I'm always reposting your stuff, especially when you post videos. I think this is kind of the way our business is moving for the longest time. It was nobody can take pictures of anything in store. Then it was, oh, we can all take pictures. And then we all send pictures over our phones. And just, I think within the last 2-3 years, people have been starting to do these video things. And I think that's where this is headed. Nobody wants to just see a picture of a display anymore. What we're doing right now is actually showing the process from A to Z, how it actually gets executed. And it is useful as a training video as well. So you're doing some really awesome work for this business. I hope that more people recognize what you're doing. I hope that you get some more people reaching out to you, because what you're doing is really, really cool and unique. And I'm excited to see what you come up with next. So as soon as you come up with that next new big thing and you're ready to release it, I'd love to be the platform that you talk to. But soon after it's all put on your website and stuff.
Of course. Thanks, Wes. Thanks again. Thanks for having me on. I'm glad we connected years ago, and it's just each other. We're a learning tool for each other. So it's awesome. Thank you.
If you found this episode valuable, check out one of these episodes. And don't forget to like and subscribe so you don't miss out on the next one. Let me know in the comments, what should I talk about next? Or who should I talk to next? And if you're interested in becoming an elite vendor, or you're in need of a career coach, check out bevedu.co.